Welcome back, guys, to our Variety Championship Round 4. This is Race 3. We're on the 24-hour Nurburgring combined circuit with the Nordschleife. We've had to do a random grid because qualifying, there wasn't enough time for it on the night, so we all elected to do a random grid, and Jay Hewson got the pole. And let's see what happened as we all get ready to go. Blaney gets a very jump start, I think, and then hits Nick Hash in the back. As everyone else is away, Bidzster practically pushing Lil Yam down the straight. He's going down towards the first corner. Jay Hewson's in the lead. It's a hairpin, then an immediate hairpin left after it. As we go into the first corner, Jay Hewson's in the lead. Cyrex is second. Everyone else is piling through. Oh, why is the camera reset? And cars everywhere. Keith's gone round with Blaney in the background on RZR and Neil as well. We'll get some replays on that. As we rejoin the action at the front, Jay Hewson's broke away as they come down to the GP section. Jay Hewson in the lead. Cyrex second. Not good news for Bidzster. He's in fourth. He's about to be third because he's trying to pass Lil now on the inside. I think he's got him, yep. Bidzster's got Lil as they go down towards the GP loop hairpin. Now it's to climb up the hill. Flapper in sixth. Let's have a little look further back. Seat one in the mix as well. Flying Flapper has just gone ahead of TY, and Nick Hash is just ahead as well. So we'll look at Flapper there, who's running TY a little bit wide onto the curb as the Sierra gets his foot down into the left-hander. Goes a bit wide. TY's going to close up here. He might be able to go around the outside and carry the speed. And look at the cornering ability of that Mercedes. Fantastic stuff. TY right around the outside, but now Flapper will be closing up on power. Meanwhile, at the front, Jay Hewson's getting mobbed by Sierras. He's already had Cyrex pass him. Bidzster's looking now as they go into the faster chicane because it's the Nordschleife. Here's a replay of what happened at the start further back. So we're looking at Blaney here coming down towards the first corner. He was around the outside, sensible way to go. Seat one and Keith, he passes around the outside. Now he's got the inside for the next bit, but he's on the gravel, so he takes it very slow and steady to make sure he doesn't get in anyone's way. Accidentally taps Keith round. I don't think that was intentional by all means at all. And then as they rejoin, watch this. Blaney comes across to take the line. Neil's there, doesn't even realise Neil's there, and bang! Shoves Neil right into the wall and doesn't even wait to let him get the position back. Bidzster still behind Jay Hewson, not found a way through yet. And we've got two cars side by side further back. We've got TY there coming through past Flying Flapper. Oh, Cyrex is off. Cyrex, he's off. He's mounted the curb. He's reversing, trying to rejoin with the cars going past him. Behind, got Blaney and Neil coming up to him shortly as well. So unlucky for them. Neil's really far back in 13th place actually, so Neil's really lost out there. As meanwhile, here's a little replay of what happened to Cyrex, and he just carries too much speed in. Round he goes, and then mounts it on the curb, and then everyone else has to go past him. Out there. As meanwhile, onto the Nordschleife section. This is what these cars were designed for. Absolutely beautiful track in beautiful cars. Can't stress how much this is going to be fantastic. As Jay Hewson runs a little bit wide there, Bidzster's going to close up, but remember this is the Mercedes territory, but in a minute we're going to be in Sierra territory, and that's where this man Bidzster's going to be able to use all the power that he's got, the extra 90 horsepower in that Sierra. There it goes. His foot's down. Jay Hewson's going to defend as they come up to the flood plats, and no, Bidzster's going to go over the bump in the air and goes round the outside of him. Oh, fantastic drive. And fantastic move by Bidzster there on Jay Hewson, practically left him standing as he went through there. He was going around the outside whether it mattered or not, whether he went off the track. Fantastic stuff from Bidzster, and he's ahead now, pulling away with the power of the Sierra. Meanwhile, further back, Nick Hash has got TY all over the back of him, and look who it is. It's Flying Flapper in the Sierra. Coming up behind the 6th place, Nick Hash goes off the road, carries too much speed now, he's going to rejoin, he's not going to be able to stop the car. And oh, bang! Straight into the side of TY. TY could not avoid that. Nick Hash has to recover. That wasn't really Nick Hash's fault, to be honest, because he was on the grass anyway. He made the initial mistake, but then couldn't stop the car. TY was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And now he's side by side going with Stevie going down this section as he just gets ahead of Stevie into the bottom. And Stevie's having a little look back, but no, there's going to be no way through there. Here's a replay on board with Flapper, what happened on lap one halfway around. Nick Hash goes off into the wall there, then he's on the grass and he's not going to stop, he's trying to get the car stopped, and then TY bang, just wrong place, wrong time, and then Flapper gains 2 positions. There. As we look a bit further back, Stevie's just gone off there, Stevie's just gone off into the wall, and he's going round. Oh, Nick Hash comes up to him, now Cyrex goes through. Keith's going to be up in a minute, careful Stevie with the rejoining. Quickly gets it turned round. Sensible stuff there from Stevie. Good rejoin. As we look at RZR and I think that's yeah, Keith and RZR just behind. And then we've got Cyrex and Nick Hash who make contact. Cyrex goes off. We'll get a replay on that. Here's a replay of what happened between Cyrex and Nick Hash. So you see the closing speed that Cyrex has got goes up the inside and then up. Just, it's really hard to call that one. I think Nick were coming across for the line anyway and Cyrex were already there, so I'd say racing incident. As we now look at Liliam in 3rd place, not doing a bad job. Bidzster's pulling away in the lead. He loves this Nurburgring circuit. We asked Bidzster before what his favourite tracks are, and it's Le Mans and Nurburgring, and it shows, because look at the way he's sliding that car around, just making that Sierra dance as he goes around the corner. Speaking of dancing, Nick Hash doing a bit of dancing of his own in that BMW. Lovely drifting there, fantastic stuff from Nick Hash. As we go into this section, oh, drifts the car in and then gets a decent line out. Cyrex is in the Sierra, so he's probably going to have a bit more power out of this corner. He gets the power down, here it comes. Here comes the Sierra, Nick Hash keeping it tight, not leaving an opportunity, even though Cyrex does have a look. Nick Hash gives him the space, sensible driving. As they go up the hill, out of this corner, you'll see the power of the Sierra. Once the turbo lag stops, and he gets the power, look at that's the pure turbo lag, the gap there, and now the gap closes down. He's up the inside, and he's going to go through. But even before the next corner, there's the pure power of that Sierra into the right-hand corner. Nick Hash takes a bit of grass with him as well, and just avoids the wall, I think. There goes RZR in the background, Stevie and Blakeney at the back. So they've had really torrid races so far. Neil Farmack in 12th place back there as well, so Neil Farmack not having a good race either. Here's a replay of something else we didn't see earlier. Here's Blakeney coming into the little complex bit and just gets it completely wrong. Bang! Into the tyre wall. Seek almost goes into the back of him. And there's Stevie taking 2 places in one go. Either. Meanwhile, here's Keith ahead of RZR, so Keith's on his own out in 8th place. Bidzster's out in front, coming up towards the hairpin before the carousel. Right up on the curb. As we come up towards the carousel now, we'll just stick with Bidzster to demonstrate the carousel. As we come towards it now, looking for the way in. There he goes into the carousel, looping all the way around, following it all the way around, and out the other side. Get the power on. Beautiful. There's Jay Hewson going through the carousel also. There's Flapper closing up. He's closing up on Jay Hewson now in 3rd place. Liliam 4th place there, and TY was pushing so hard after that mistake with Nick Hash. He's closing up to the leaders as well, so TY pushing for all his life, his worth. So TY doing a very good job there, pushing on. Meanwhile, further back, we've got a little group here. RZR, Stevie and Seek, and Neil's closing up to them as well. So Stevie not quite using as much banking as the others did, but might be just the way he prefers the car to run, not in the bumps of the concrete carousel, as he now has a look for a way past RZR. But this is where the Mercedes will shine. The Sierras will start to struggle through this section because of the agility needed. The Mercedes, a much stiffer chassis for the corners, which means that the springs are stiffer and the whole chassis is a bit stiffer, so that the car doesn't roll as much, so the car can dart like that side to side pretty well compared to the Sierra. He's all over the back of RZR Blade now, having a look round. Meanwhile, Seat 1 a bit further behind, waiting to pick up any pieces if there's any mistakes made, as they all go over that little rise there. Liliam being caught by his teammate, and Cyrex getting a move on his 6th place as well. Cyrex pushing on hard. As we look back at this little battle here, Stevie's got through past RZR, who's done it. We'll get a replay on how it happened. Here's how Stevie got past Arzadar, so they're coming up to this uphill right-hander, and then Arzadar goes wide onto the grass. Stevie makes a little mistake himself, but Arzadar's mowing the lawn, up on the curve, and Stevie goes right around the outside of him. As we rejoin with Arzadar after that replay, seat 1 in. Oh, Stevie's lost it! Stevie's lost the back end. I thought I saw something happening. Stevie's lost the back end, gone completely round, and then goes straight back to 12th place. So unlucky there. Arzadar, Seek and Neil move up a place. So unlucky for Stevie as we go through the little bottom section here. And as Flapper comes up onto the straight now, this is where he could close up on Jay Hewson. There's a really rubbish camera angle there. There we go, that's better. Got to see him going around that corner. Jay Hewson's already on the straight. Bidzster's already halfway down. The speed of that Sierra really showing. There's the Mercedes and there's the other Sierra of Flapper. Now let's just go quickly on board with Flapper here to look at the closing speed. There's Jay Hewson in front of us, and you can see we're closing on him like cat and mouse. So close. He might even be able to get him as we come up to this corner. Look at the speed. There must be a 30-mile-an-hour difference in top speed as we come down towards the end, but he's not going to try and overtake him short for short because it's going to be a very hard place to overtake into this last section. So we'll go back to the trackside camera now, and we'll have a look at some of the other battles coming down the straight now. There's Keith and Arzadar behind seat 1 as well. They're going to be closing up to Keith in no time as well. Seat 1 gets the draft from Arzadar as well and goes through. So both Sierras swapping places. There's Neil Farmack a bit further behind. He cannot keep with these Sierras on the straight for definite. As Cyrex comes up across the line, we're on the last lap now. There's only 2 laps in this race because it takes that long to do a lateral lap. So it's into the first corner. Cyrex closes up on TY. TY runs a bit wide on the entrance, but Cyrex gets a good run out. Uses the turbo pressure of that Sierra to get a good run out of the corner. Look at the acceleration of that car. Fantastic stuff. But TY's got the corner advantage as they go into the next corner. TY's got the inside as well, which also helps. Round the GP section. Down the hill. As we look back here now. Keith and Seek 1 side by side into turn 1. Seek turns in, Keith's there. He shouldn't really have turned in that much on Keith, he knew he was there. But contact was made. Arzadar blade closes up to the back of Seek there. As they get the power on, but Seek as well in a cosy, so not much they can do about the speed advantage because there is none when you're in the same car. As we look at TY, still keeping Cyrex behind, doing a very good job indeed. And meanwhile, Jay Hewson now's got Flapper behind him. Now we've seen this in the sprint of the GP. The power of that Sierra down these straights. This is Flapper's last chance really before we get onto the Nurburgring section. He's going to have a little look up the inside. He's going to go for it. And has to back out of it. There might have been a little bit of contact there, but just backs out of it. Just thought he'd show his nose. He had to try something before the Nurburgring section. And now we go up the hill onto the Nurburgring section. There we go. Jay Hewson almost hits the wall there as we go round the first corner of the big track. And Jay Hewson still keeping the advantage for now. Meanwhile, so Cyrex very sideways there onto the big track. There's TY coming onto it as well. Liliam in the second Team Red cars onto it. Meanwhile, quite a bit further back now is Nick Hash, who's the next car in 7th place. A bit of a better showing in this race. Made one mistake in the race so far, which put him back down the field, but not to worry. All is going well at the minute. Keith in 8th place with Seek closing up, and Seek, whoa, what a tank slapper in the background, just trying to get the power on as early as possible. Meanwhile, Neil and Arzadar having a good little scrap back here for 10th and 11th places respectively. Stevie in 12th place with a very aerodynamically challenged Mercedes. And then Blakeney further back, who's maybe making quite a few mistakes in this, unfortunately. So looks like it might be a Team White one first and last in this, but we'll see how things go. You never know, he might be able to make up places. So we'll just go back to our battle for second place now as Flying Flapper closes up to Jay Hewson with the power, and now into this hairpin. And round the hairpin, this is where Jay Houston needs a fantastic run, because now the turbo power of the Sierra is going to have help with gravity, because they are now going downhill. So this is Flapper's chance. Incredible closing speed as they go up the hill, but no, too late. Oh no, Jay Houston's made it easier for him. He's made a mistake, but he's rejoining. Oh, how did he hold on to that? Kept the car just in shape there after riding that wall, but still keeps ahead. But now Flapper's going to have the power out of the corner. We'll keep an eye on this as they come down towards the next corner. Jay Houston's going to have to defend here, or is he just going to let Flapper go? He doesn't even bother defending. Flapper's up the inside. Flapper takes the place and goes wide. Jay Houston back up the inside, not giving up without a fight though. Back up the inside of Flapper, who runs wide and spins. Runs out of road, spins round. That wasn't due to the fact that Jay Houston squeezed in. That's just to the fact that the Nordschleife is a very narrow circuit, and now he's facing the wrong way towards traffic. Cyrex comes through, drifting. Oh, so close. Misses Flapper. Flapper gets going there, and yeah, we've got a bit of a decent gap to Lillian behind, so rejoins there in 5th place. Meanwhile, there's Seek and Keith. They're just coming up to this chicane section, so they are spread out, but at least there's plenty of battles going on track. Keith runs wide. You don't want to do that when they've got a Sierra behind you. You don't want to run wide with the Sierra there, and that's why, because the Sierra just goes bye-bye, see you later. Good old Cosworth power in that Sierra, so goes through into 7th place. Keith demoted to 8th. As we look a little bit further back, there's RZR Blade, and Neil should be just ahead. There he is. So they're still close. Keith not giving up without a fight though with Seek. He's still sticking with him as we go down the hill. Meanwhile, not looked in for a while. Here's Bidzster in the lead, 11 seconds ahead of Jay Houston. Loving this track, loving that car, driving it very well, extending the gap every single sector. So good job by Bidzster there. Jay Houston's not doing a bad job either. In the Mercedes. But yeah, again, just to remind you all, no team points for Team Yellow in this one, because Jay Houston started in a Sierra for race 1 and then switched to the Mercedes for race 2 and 3. So because he breached the rule of you've got to use a single car for all 3 races and not change it, but because he did, unfortunately there is no team points for Team Yellow in this race. In fact, in all 3 races, if I'm to be correct. There's Keith there, comes under pressure from his teammate Neil Farmack. So Neil Farmack caught up with Keith now. So after a bit of a miserable weekend for Neil Farmack, hoping to get something out of it by taking a place from his teammate, but we'll see. Keith will fight his own, I would hope. Hopefully it won't make it too easy, and we could get a nice little scrap with Team Black, because there's plenty of space in front, plenty of space behind to have a little scrap. But no, Keith backs out the power, lets Neil go through. So clearly playing the team game there, letting Neil get ahead, see if Neil can catch Lil up and get any more points, but it's unlikely because of the gap. So Keith helping his teammate out in the championship. So Team Black playing the team game. Stevie there on his own for Team Green, so he can't really play any team game with no teammate showing up this week. As RZR Blade there in 10th place, Blakeney in 11th, Nick Hash has gone back to 12th place, and Seek 1 unfortunately right at the back again. So Seek 1 having a miserable, he'll want to forget this week altogether, having a miserable race again. So hopefully Seek can, there's proof of the grass, and hopefully Seek can bounce back next week at Watkins Glen in the Radical. So yep, next week is going to be in the Radical out of Track Day A, the Radical RX around Watkins Glen, and I can tell you something, there's going to be a surprise with the weather, but that's all I'm going to say on the subject. So don't forget to stay tuned to the Bidzster for next weekend. Sorry, for next week, as we watch Bidzster come over the last section of the Nordschleife, up and over the little squiggle there, throwing the car sideways, coming up towards the section where the mini carousel is. Nice and neat through there. We'll just watch him go through the mini carousel, then we'll have a look a little bit further back and see if there's any other battles going on down track. I don't think there is at the moment, but there we go. Bidzster through the mini carousel out the other side. Neil Farmack in 7th place there ahead of his teammate Keith. Lilliam on his own in 6th place. Flapper in 5th. Cyrex is in 4th place, keeping tabs on TY. TY still ahead, but we'll have to watch that on the straight because the Sierra will catch up towards the end of the straight. We'll have to see what happens there towards the end. Let's have a look further back. There's Nick Hash. Running wide. Nick Hash running very wide into the wall, and he's gone round. Nick Hash has gone round. Nick Hash, the Belgian, round he goes. Blaney's Blaney's gone off as well. And they hit more or less the same part, so they're copycatting each other there. But Blaney recovers a bit better than Nick Hash does. Nick Hash really struggling to recover that car. Seat 1 goes through to take 12th place. Bidzster coming towards the end of the straight now. Bidzster towards the end of the straight. And Cyrex is there. Let's just have a quick look at Cyrex, see how close he is to TY. He's not quite there yet. So we'll just quickly go back to Bidzster as we watch him go across the line. So there comes Bidzster out of the last corner onto the GP circuit once again. And it's going to be victory for Bidzster. Good race, well done, commanding victory, well done Bidzster, you've won that race. And 2nd place is going to go to Jay Hewson. And look at the speed of Cyrex coming down towards the last corner for the last time. He's going to have a go, he's going to have to be brave on the brakes. Is he going to be close enough? I don't think so. If TY can get this stopped, and out of the corner, gets the power down, squirms that Mercedes, wrings its neck for all it's worth. Is he going to get to the line in time? It's going to be close. And TY just gets 3rd place from Cyrex. Another 50 metres and Cyrex would have had him there, so Cyrex is 4th. So TY 3rd, Cyrex 4th, and then Flapper is going to come through in 5th place. Well done to Flapper there. Liliam is going to be 6th place, kept out of trouble in that one I think, to varying degrees, so well done to Liliam, 6th place. Neil Farmack, they're still coming down the straight, so Neil Farmack's coming down the straight in 7th place, Keith in 8th. Stevie 9th, but he's closing on Keith slowly. And here's RZR Blade, but he's a bit too far back to capitalise on them two ahead, so we'll look at Neil coming down through the last section into the last corner. Here comes Keith with Stevie closing up for a last lap lunge. Is he going to get him? He goes to the inside, but to the outside for the next corner. He's going to try and use the overspeed, and Keith gives him the squeeze. Oh, it's going to be so close between them two. Keith got 7th. Who's going to be Neil's got 7th, and Keith just holds on from Stevie. Stevie put in a very good challenge there at the end, but Stevie had to come away in 9th. Keith gets 8th. RZR Blade finishes in 10th place. Blakeney is going to be 11th. Nick Hash there in 12th place, and Seat 1 is going to be in 13th. So that's how we'll all finish. Bidzster there is our winner. Won 2 out of 3 races. Good points haul for Bidzster. He now leads the championship. So we will see you guys next week at Watkins Glen. Take care.